What's going on? Dr. Frank here, founder of Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching Programs. And in today's brief video, I want to take some time and talk about one mindset that is essential for quitting nicotine, but this could actually relate to most any addiction that you're struggling with, but especially nicotine addiction. Here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, we help people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, pornography, and a whole host of other addictions. Be sure to subscribe below for more motivational content. So the number one mindset that you can use to quit using nicotine or quit vaping is telling yourself that under no circumstances, no matter what, will you use nicotine again. No matter what comes up, no matter what situation, no matter what life throws at you, nicotine is not an option. Pretend like it doesn't exist. Now, I'm going to talk about how you can do that in this video because I know that's a lot easier said than done. But here's the problem with nicotine addiction, and here's the problem with the mindset that's been created surrounding nicotine addiction. It's often pushed upon people to use nicotine replacement therapy products, which aren't necessarily a bad thing. There's people who have successfully quit with Nicorette gum, nicotine lozenges, nicotine inhalers, but there's also a lot of people who fail or relapse with using that method. And this is my theory as to why. The problem is nicotine. The solution to your problem is quitting nicotine. And very, very rarely is the problem going to provide you with a solution. So the solution to your problem, which your problem is nicotine addiction, shouldn't be using nicotine. Just logically, that makes sense to me. And logically, the other stuff doesn't make sense. Now, there's even a bigger problem with this. The bigger problem surrounding nicotine addiction and this mindset is that you're under the impression that nicotine is the solution to other problems you may have in life. So you're under the impression that nicotine gives you less anxiety. You're under the impression that nicotine maybe gives you energy. You're under the impression that nicotine helps to regulate your mood and your emotions. You're under the impression that nicotine is curing the boredom. So you're already viewing nicotine as a solution to a lot of different things in your life. And the reality is it's not. I've made several other videos talking about how the only anxiety nicotine relieves is the anxiety that you get from a craving, right? So you get a craving for nicotine, anxiety spikes, and then that anxiety goes down when you use the nicotine product. It didn't fix your life anxiety that you're getting from outside of this situation. It only cured the anxiety that you get in anticipation of a nicotine craving. If nicotine doesn't fix the boredom, just like smoking Mary Jane doesn't cure boredom, it simply makes you become content with being bored. So again, each of these situations, there's a lie that addiction is telling us, and you got to start to see through some of these lies. I've made other videos on it, but that's the biggest issue with nicotine addiction. We talk about nicotine, the problem, being a solution for nicotine addiction, and the problem is never the solution. And that is my big gripe with nicotine replacement therapy products. Now, I put a link below for a book by Alan Carr, The Easy Way, and I highly recommend you download that book on Audible or you purchase a copy of that. A link for it is in the description below. He talks a lot about the other issue being that when you use nicotine replacement therapy like Nicorette gum or an inhaler, you're basically creating a mindset that you gave something up. You're under the impression that you've made a sacrifice. And the reality is you didn't give anything up with nicotine addiction. You didn't make a sacrifice. You got rid of something that's destroying you, something that you hate. There's no worse feeling in the world than continuing to do something that you don't want to do anymore. And the only thing you accomplished by quitting nicotine was getting rid of something that you've wanted to get rid of because you know it's not good for you. You know it's destroying you mentally and physically. So you're not making a sacrifice. Making a sacrifice would be giving up something that you love. That's a sacrifice. There is no sacrifice being made. And when you use nicotine replacement therapy products, you're tricking your brain into thinking you're making a sacrifice, and that creates a very screwed up mindset, in both my opinion and the opinion of Alan Carr. Again, check out the link for the description below. I would highly recommend picking up that book off of Amazon or downloading it. So I hope that makes sense. We're talking a little bit here about nicotine replacement therapy and the negative mindset that it creates. Now, I want you to understand, when it comes to nicotine addiction, every time you get a craving, every time you feel a withdrawal symptom, I don't know the things that you're going to do to manage those withdrawals. I don't know the things that you're going to do to manage those cravings, but I know for a fact that if you want to quit successfully, you have to tell yourself, you have to guarantee yourself, you have to make a vow to yourself that you will never use nicotine again, and you have to accept that nicotine is not a solution to the withdrawals. It only prolongs them. Nicotine is not a solution to the anxiety. It only makes it worse and keeps you trapped in that cycle. You have to tell yourself that, and you have to believe that, especially in the first few days of quitting nicotine. It is so important. And for the rest of your foreseeable future, for the rest of your life, I still find myself having to tell myself that from time to time. Nicotine is not an option. I treat it as if it never even existed. And that has served me very, very well over the last few years. And hopefully it will serve you well too. In a sense, you're calling out that addictive voice. You're calling out the lies that addictive voice in your brain is telling you. And you're putting a challenge to it. And I think it's so important that we challenge our addictions and that addictive voice when it starts to call on us, and that we kind of tell it to screw off and shut the hell up. I think you can go a really, really, really long way with that mindset. I hope this video helps you guys out. Now, if you're confused about some of the things that you should do, or like how do you keep yourself occupied when you have withdrawals or cravings, follow me into the next video where I talk about how I stay sober and some of the things I do to manage nicotine withdrawals and nicotine cravings. I'll see you guys in the next video.